Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Invest Power series, solving your property and finance needs. I'm David, and here today I want to talk about how much you should insure for your investment property. Fundamentally, when you come back to say how much you should insure the property or the building, it comes back to how much is the current property or the building worth. And the best qualified person to be able to tell you that is a builder by trade. So, if you're looking for a qualified builder or anything along that line, who's qualified to be able to advise you on the construction costs and so on, they should be the person that you're seeking expert and professional advice with. However, I know most of the investors probably don't have the need for any kind of builder services as such. So therefore, it would be quite weird if you actually go to someone or just knock on the builder's door and go, hey mate, I actually like to get an idea about how much I should insure this property for. Without any, if there's no work for them, then chances are you're probably not going to get a response as such. So most of the time, unfortunately, property investors are left alone themselves to say, okay, well, how much should I be insured? Okay, well, there's a few ways to go about it, in my personal opinion, as a property investor. First of all, if you do a full valuation at the time of obtaining finance, and if your broker is able to obtain a copy of the actual valuation report, you may be able to see what the building sum is. So, on the building report, usually on the first page, you'll see there's a land value or unproved value, and then there's also the building value. So that building value could be a starting indicator. It's not a hard and fast rule, and definitely not a gospel to say that's exactly how much the building is cost. I've seen from time to time where, for example, a valuer could have worked out the building or the property is worth $400,000, the land value is $250K, therefore the building itself is only worth $150K. But, the building itself, maybe a house, maybe a nicely furnished house, or maybe a very rundown house, it may not necessarily reflect that the building sum there is a true reflection, is what I'm trying to say. So in that scenario, the actual building sum indicator on the valuation report can act as a guidance, but not a gospel. Okay, so that's one of the things that you could review and determine how much building sum you should insure for. The next thing that you could look at is go to a website on Corelogic called Cordell Insure. I'll put a link down there in the in this video, so underneath in the description section, so that you guys can have access to that. Basically, it's a tool developed by Corelogic, and they'll ask you a sequence of questions. When was the property built? How long has it been? Is it a brick? Is it a brick house? How many bedrooms? Floor area? That kind of stuff. So similar to the type of questions that you get asked when you're trying to sum up or derive an actual building cost when you're asked for an insurance provider. So, basically what Cordell Insure is trying to do here is follow the logic of the same questions that you're asking, or the insurers is asking you to provide, and on that basis, then they will use the model in the back end and calculate roughly, to say how much you should insure the building for. Okay, so again, I find that tool quite good and quite useful. If you're completely in the dark, you don't have a valuation report that tells you how much you should insure for your sum. And in this case, using the Cordell Insure could be a tool that actually helps you to guide you on what sort of level you should be putting in or you should be giving to your insurer on that basis. Okay, so that's another tip. So check the link down there. I'll put it in the description. It's a free tool, so it doesn't cost you anything. And again, Cordell Insure will actually put a lot of disclaimer to say this is just an estimate, and by no means you should take this as a gospel. A third approach, if you obviously gone through the first and the second, try to get a valuation report, and also using the Cordell Insure, is look at what sort of cost if you want to build a project home. So let's just assume, the idea behind this is just assuming that if you do have a fire on the property, for example, completely burned down, and you want to be able to build a brand new house, then a project house, which a lot of the project home builders actually do offer, could be a good starting guidance to say, if you are going to build one of these project homes, then how much would it actually cost you? On a scale, similar to what you currently have. So for example, you currently have a 311 single brick veneer house, pretty plain, pretty vanilla. You could jump onto one of the bigger builders such as like Metricon, for example, have a look at their project homes that's similar in style to your current one. Also ideally a 311, and check out what sort of cost it is required to be able to build one of those Metricon project home as an example. And not just Metricon, obviously you can look at whatever project home builders that you like to use. There's plenty of them out there, okay? But that's another guide as a property investor to do a bit of due diligence yourself to say, okay, well, roughly if it takes about $300,000 to build a brand new project home that I want to do, then, do I use that? Or, and you can compare that against the Cordell sum insured result that's came back, or as well as the valuation report that comes back. So it gives you a few tools to be able to cross-check and cross-reference about each, and hopefully be able to derive the balance, find that sweet spot in terms of how much you should be insuring so that you're not under-insure yourself. Also, another tip for you guys is that there is the demolition cost as well, which usually gets overlooked as well. So there could take up a few grand or tens of thousands of grand to demolish the site to make sure you prepare to be available to build the new home. So just maybe chuck in another 10 or 20 grand on top for demolition costs, just in case, so that to ensure that you are not under-insuring yourself in this scenario. So there you have it. There's a few tips today about how do you work out how much building sum to insure. I hope that helps. And again, it's one of those frequently asked questions. So I thought I might as well do a video on this so that it can help everyone who's having this problem. You'll always come at this problem if you're buying a new property. I certainly have that problem, and I wish I had a solution for it when I was a property investor, but not until now. I actually do come up with a few ways of being able to do it. So I thought I'll share that today with everyone. So I hope it helps. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like, subscribe to our channel. We'll have more exciting contents. And if you got any questions or any challenges that you basically face on your property journey, leave a comment down there or email me on david@lempower.com.au. I'm more than happy to see whether I can help you with any of the solutions I already have, okay? So until next time, I'm David from Lempower. I'll see you again in next week's Invest Power episode.